sports government on sports. I think a lot is being expressed and done by the Minister for Sports. He's made many pronouncements about where our mind is about the development of sports, that we're going to try and de-emphasize the emphasis on football and bring the other sports into the basket of consideration and care. I mean, policies are being rolled out. One of the problems, of course, about holding this kind of encounter after 6 months in office is that most of the things you're doing are initiatives. They are not about concrete achievements at this stage. You're building the foundation of your policy and your program, but not that you are in the ability to come and say, I was asked how many jobs have I created in 6 months. I'd be surprised if I could give a positive answer to that question. But I think that if you were to ask me the question in 18 months' time, I'll be in a much stronger position to answer the question, because the policies that we are putting in place, it's all about job creation. It's all about trying to build our enterprises and expand our enterprises to be able to perform better and employ more and more people. I mean, 6 months into the system, it's a bit difficult to be able to give a positive answer to that question. And I think on these matters, we all have to be very frank. And I mean, there's a lot that's been done in the public sector in terms of people in the cocoa area being brought in on board but I'm thinking largely.
President Akufo-Addo there on sports, but that was after a question was posed to him, because in his initial comments there was nothing on sports. Gary, you're here. How are people in the, first of all, this is not a state of the nation. He indicated at the beginning that this is not a message on the state of the nation. But does it feel in the sport, within the sport fraternity, that perhaps the minister did not make any input in this speech?
I think that the general reception to this media encounter is not one of a state of a nation. People see it as a state of a nation. People see it as the second major speech after the 100-day speech.
Okay.
Okay, so you had the Independence Day speech, you had the inauguration, the Independence Day speech, the State of the Nation, and then there's this one, the 100 days, and then there's this one. So people see it as the second major, or if you take all the sub-major speeches, this is about the fifth one. And
so the expectations were high.
Were that, and I'm speaking generally because before I come to sports in particular, I have seen some of the top entertainment pundits even question why there was nothing on entertainment there. So the sense is not that this was not a state of the nation. People feel that anything that mattered to the president or to the current government, they spoke about. That's what people are saying.
I see.
You get my point?
I get your point.
Because is there anything worthwhile in this country that has happened? President Nana Akufo-Addo said, undoubtedly, the headline thing that has dominated the 6 months he has been in is Galamsey. And then he started enumerating the most important things. Now, directly to my question, I think that I agree with you when you say it's not a state of the nation. I agree that... I
didn't say, the president said it.
Yes, that...
And it's not, it's a fact.
It's a fact, you know. So we shouldn't have expected too much. I would have been extremely surprised if he had mentioned sport, because then he would have...
You would have been pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly.
Say, okay.
Surprised if he had mentioned sport. But since he didn't, I don't think that it's a bit of a big deal. In as much as a lot of sport... I'm just coming from the newsroom, and it's a heated discussion there.
Okay.
Because people feel that, you know, there should have been a mention of it. But I think that it's fine. Yeah.
But the journalists were invited there for a reason, and that was to ask the question. So they did a job for you. Someone asked about sports, and so he then speaks about sports. Now talk about the
what he said.
React to
what he said was true. Really, he said that this is not the time for concrete stuff. It's a time for laying foundations, and it's true. The Ghanaian sporting industry, like many of our industries, have gone several years back. And we are starting from scratch again. There's so many things that we have to get at the fundamental level. And so the president was very, very accurate, in as much as it wasn't very nice to hear. You know,
it wasn't very nice to hear.
Yeah, and he said his minister is handling stuff, and it's...
So why didn't he then invite his minister? to speak to it if
well,
it wasn't
time issue. What would he have said anyway?
maybe
The
he
minister
has
would have
something.
said exactly what, you know.
Maybe he has something. Were you expecting him to perhaps pay tribute to the Kotoko team?
That I expected him to do, you know, because it's very recent. He could have scored political points with it. Very easy,
really?
you know. But yeah,
Okay.
he didn't. So that's it.
All right, well, we'll see what the headlines for tomorrow will be, what the sports headlines will be for tomorrow. But that's Gary for you with Sports on the Pulse. Of course, today we're all doing Flagstaff stuff, aren't we? And that's how we wrap up, by the way. That's what time will allow us. For more news, of course, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. We've got a lot of stories that you can scroll all the way down if you want to see any of the videos. But we've been streaming live on Facebook as well. So thank you very much for our Facebook to our Facebook audience and those of you who sent in your messages. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Dorina Viewer is standing by with Let's Talk Entertainment.